Good afternoon, Sangha. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for Thursday Dharma Contemplations. A few announcements before we get started. For those of you here in the Dharma Hall, please silence your phones, and those at home, please mute your microphones. As you know, Heartwood has been closed to outside visitors for September, and that will continue through September 29th. And we'll let you know what our plans are for reopening once those are reassessed near the end of the month. So please continue to join us for Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday Dharma on Zoom and YouTube. Also, for those of you who have been joining us for book study on Thursdays at 5 p.m., that has been changed this week. So we will be having book studies now on Sunday at 4 p.m., which will allow West Coast attendees maybe some more time to attend that might work better for them. So please check your emails if you haven't already. There should have been a announcement sent out to you. But again, book study will no longer be on Thursday. It'll be on Sundays at 4 p.m. The Novena prayers will continue monthly on the third Thursday of each month. So please send your confidential prayer requests for yourself or loved ones. This can include pets. And for those who are sick, suffering, misfortune, or departed, at prayer@heartwoodrefuge.org. Please like, follow, and share Heartwood and Thrifty Treasures on all social media to help spread the Dharma and further Heartwood's mission. We actually just updated a Yelp page for Thrifty Treasures. So if you feel inclined to go and give us a nice rating, that'd be great. And last but not least, we do have another retreat coming up in October. Oh, the end of September. Oh, well, let me hold off on that. I believe we're still having that. But we'll get final word. But just in case you might want to check it out on our website at the retreat page, you will see information about objectless concentration with Bhante Sudaso, September 30th to October 3rd. So again, keep an eye out for information about that as if we're moving forward. If we do have that, there will be residential and commuter options. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got my computer up and I've noticed that there's like a echo going on. So I turned down the volume. Yeah. I turned the volume down. Yep. Yeah, sorry about that. Right. So welcome everyone to Dharma Contemplation. We typically begin with an opportunity for newcomers to introduce themselves. So if anybody, I haven't met you before, so if you would like to take a moment to just introduce yourself, we'd like to welcome you to Heartwood and to Dharma Contemplation today. Yeah.
And original from Cambodia, and I am a American Cambodian. So I am also from the Online Association in Cambodia, and it took me so long to work with the women Buddhism, and I never dreamed to speak Bhikkhuni. But one day I have a chance. In 1996, in Varanasi, India, I attended for the first reorder Bhikkhuni in the world. At the second time, 1997, at Colombo, Sri Lanka, and the third time, 1998. Cambodia honored to be a host for International Sakyapida Conference. Sakyapida is the network of women Buddhism in the world. But after that, that karma, I have something trouble in my life. in year 2002, my son passed away, and then I break my job, just take care of myself. And then year two, I think you 10, I get back again to Cambodia. Yeah, try to member of non-association over there. And to with my honor to be here, and I can see, Venerable, the first person that wake me up, because when I heard about her life, it doesn't matter Theravada, Mahayana, or Zen, but we are women Buddhism. That's what I'm so proud, and I'm so grateful to see, all Sankha here.
Thank you. How long will you be staying here?
Only a month, and because I plan to go back to Cambodia. Last year I tried to get back many times, 3 times, but I can do nothing. One time I stuck in the middle. They sent me back to the street, and then the third time I just, live quarantine over there in the hotel 2 weeks. Get back to my house in the city, capital over there, they locked down, and then I can do nothing. And now I just work with all my committee by, by internet. So yeah, and I'm so proud. Even it's a hard time, but they never forget about their job, to chanting, go to the temple, but they don't understand nothing. What they do, just take care of the monk. They afraid about the monk, care too much about the monk, but they don't care about themselves. So that is the point that we, I'm sorry, I said we mean our member and committee. Think about our future plan, because like over 1 year that we stop, we cannot do nothing, because of COVID and the restriction over there different from the state. When they said lockdown, it means you cannot go out of the house. If you get out of the house, you get penalty. And very, very bad situation. So that's why I look up every day for information over there. But I do believe maybe the end of the month I can get back, because they try to do vaccination to all the people like 3 times, because the vaccine that we give to the people, from WHO, like a different type. The United States try to support them like more than million dose, but Thompson, we get 1 shot. But if we get vaccine from China, we get 2 shots, and then now we get 1 more shot. Like time, too many times, rough time, waste of time with the COVID situation over there. So now most people got 3 shots. So I do believe maybe, they will get better and better, and then I can get back.
What a blessing to have you here in our community at this time. We'll have a wonderful opportunity to engage with you for the next month and welcome you. And if there's anything that you need that we can support you with, please let us know.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
So would you like to begin with a chant for us, your favorite chant?
That's why I asked Santa about the paper, because I don't know about Mahayana. In my country, we had 2 sects. community Kanikai, the only Theravada country, but we had two branches, Mahaya, Mahanikai and community Kanikai. So when we do ceremony, we have to prepare the paper because sometimes it's too hard to switch from one part to another part.
Uh-huh.
That's why.
So what is your favorite chant? Just share your favorite chant with us to start out.
Oh,
Your favorite one.
okay.
Yeah.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, dhammāṃ saranam gacchāmi, saṅghāṃ saranam gacchāmi. Tuṭṭhayampi buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, tuṭṭhayampi dhammāṃ saranam gacchāmi, tuṭṭhayampi saṅghāṃ saranam gacchāmi. Tattayampi buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi, tattayampi dhammāṃ saranam gacchāmi. Thank
you. Thank you. Let's take a few minutes to reflect upon our last week's contemplation. If there's anybody that would like to share their experience from their homework assignment. And if you don't remember what that homework assignment was, it was simply to become aware how we're wasting our lives. And whoever would like to begin, let's just keep it brief so we can make it through the process in the amount of time that we have dedicated for it. So who would like to begin?
The question is how you're wasting your life. Is that the question? How you're wasting your life?
That was our assignment from last week's contemplation. Yeah, our lives, the assignment was our lives are very precious. Notice how you're wasting your time. And just wondering if anybody noticed, remembered the assignment and noticed.
This is Ruth. I didn't take me this week to notice that I play a lot of computer games and read detective novels. And I'm trying to convince myself that that's not really wasting my life, but I'm starting to realize that it is. So look for some news about going forward with online courses and stuff.
Thanks, Ruth. One of the things I noticed is I had an opportunity since our last gathering to visit with my family in Michigan. I just returned yesterday evening, and I was thinking about the ability to discern the whole, I guess, practice of discernment, even about what is wasteful in my life, what I'm wasting and what I'm not wasting. And also noticing that I forget about remembering to do that. And that's pretty prominent in my life right now. So just bringing things to my awareness and being able to discern what is a waste and what is not a waste. And then I wanted to make another comment. Somebody had a question about life support from the quote that we had last week. And so as I did more research and asked around, the response that I received as far as life support is really, access to, the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha, the three jewels, and then being connected to that as a place for our life support. So I wanted to share that as well. And so let's begin with a 3 minute, 3 minutes of silence before we begin the process. Are there any questions before we start, or comments before we start?
No, but I do want to say that I'm very impressed that nobody else is wasting their life and that I'm the only one.
That is quite impressive.
I can express that. I can express mine. I was thinking, like Ruth, I also spend a lot of time on the media, and also with a lot of meetings, and sometimes it's not even needed. And I, since I got here in Brazil, I have been part of a lot of meetings, but I have not seen my nephews and nieces, and there are a lot of new babies, new children. And I said, what's happening? So this week I decided to start having meetings with all of them. And it's very, very special. Like I said, a meeting with the auntie and nieces and nephews and all that. And I think that it's a very good way to create equanimity, to leave the screen and be with my family a little more. That's what I noticed and the choice that I made for this coming weeks.
Thank you, Fatima.
I'll share something. Thank you, Fatima. You helped rattle my brain a little bit. Something that I've been working with is there's some work that I've started to do that does require me to be online on social media for more things. I have to be actually quite engaged in that for some of the work that I'm doing. But what I find is there are moments where I'm not aware that I'm not online with a purpose. And I'm just like falling down the rabbit hole or something. And then I'll like wake up and be like, oh yeah, I don't need to be doing this right now. And usually there's like a signal I can usually tell. My mind will start to feel like overworked. There's like a tension, a heaviness, just energetically in the mind. I can usually feel it. And so that is sometimes my cue to notice what I'm doing. So yeah, just trying to find that balance of what is needed and what is not. When social media is made for us, it's made so that we will get wrapped up in it. And so it's really a practice right now to find what is useful and what is not.
Thank you, Santa Caro. So as we move forward in today's Dharma contemplation, I noticed that it's really an opportunity for us to collectively, individually and collectively come together to go deeper into, one piece body of work that is part of our studies that has to do with the levels of mindfulness and the opportunity to go deeper into mindfulness. And the components in this Dharma contemplation are very helpful to move us into those, looking at it from the perspective of the reading that we have, and then going deeper into what is it that we choose from that reading that really stands out for us, then also moving into, how our bodies and sensations with regard to those things, and then moving deeper into dialogue and mindfulness of the meaning of things. So although we do it when we do our Dharma contemplation together, it's really prominent to me. But then I notice when I leave, I really don't think of it that often. So I'm looking forward to this being an opportunity for me to do it individually and then also collectively as we move forward. Let's go to, if you would move to the chat section, and those of you that are in the room, I'm going to pass out the reading for today. Mhm. So if somebody would be willing to, a couple of people actually, let's read it twice. If anybody would be willing to read it, please. Santikara, thank you.
Oh, delusions, delusions, where will you go? When banished by the eye of wisdom and expelled from my mind. And from where will you return to harm me again? Being weak, I am reduced to making no effort. The delusions are not in the objects and the sense powers between them or elsewhere. So from where can they cause harm to all living beings? Because they are just like illusions, I should banish fear from my heart and strive to attain wisdom. Why bring the sufferings of hell and so forth upon myself for no reason? Chapter 4, verses 46 and 7 of Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Shantideva. Can I read that last line as well?
Yes, please.
My goal in this old age is to know the whole truth and to be the truth.
Yeah, that was from a the Heartwood Dharma talk this last Sunday by Venerable Panawati. Yeah, I thought it was so fitting. One more time.
Oh, delusions, delusions, where will you go when banished by the eye of wisdom and expelled from my mind? And from where will you return to harm me again? But being weak-minded, I am reduced to making no effort. The delusions are not in the objects and the sense powers between them or elsewhere. So from where can they cause harm to all living beings? Because they are just like illusions, I should banish fear from my heart and strive to attain wisdom. Why bring the sufferings of hell and so forth upon myself for no reason? Chapter 4, verses 46 and 47 of Guide of the Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Shantideva. My goal in this old age is to know the whole truth and to be the truth. Venerable Panawati.
Let's take a moment in silence before we move on to speaking out the words or phrases that touch you. Speak out the word or phrase that touches you. Speak only the words of the text and let them find a home in your memory. So feel free to speak out.
This old age.
Where will you go when banished by the eye of wisdom?
From
You can go ahead, Fatima.
from where will return to harm me again? From where will you return to harm me again?
Being weak-minded.
I should banish fear from my heart.
Why bring the sufferings of hell and so forth upon myself for no reason?
The delusions are not in the objects.
And from where will you return to harm me again?
Another moment of silence before we move on to mindfulness of our body and senses. Remain absorbed in the words and turn towards resonances in the body. What emotions are evoked? What images? What is the experience in the body? Speak only those felt responses related specifically to the text.
I don't know that I could pinpoint where in the body I felt it. I don't know that I recall it, but when the first three lines, specifically, where will you go when banished by the eye of wisdom, and from where will you return to harm me again? It caused some movement in my body. Things started to speed up internally. Yeah.
Thank you, Santa Clara.
I noticed the way that phrase manifested in my mind, in my body, that it gave me some mental curiosity to answer that, to find the right answer to that question. And also there is a feeling of anxiety in my stomach, and some kind of nervousness that I noticed.
Thank you, Fatima. My body responds to, I should banish fear from my heart. Like there's this anger that's brewing in the pit of my stomach to want it to stop, to want it to not keep rising up, to like kind of dampen it down. And then also, yeah, I think it's mostly like in my stomach that I feel this sort of anger brewing, wanting to keep it from coming up because it comes up over and over again, like just really wanting to pound it down. Take another moment of silence before moving on to the meaning of the words. What is the meaning we give to the words? Explore the meaning of the words and phrases. Inquire, analyze, notice how threads of meaning are woven together from all of our input. Are there ambiguities, metaphors, contexts? How clearly can these words be understood?
Read that one more time.
Mhm. What is the meaning we give to the words? Explore the meaning of the words and phrases. Inquire, analyze, notice how threads of meaning are woven together from all of our input. Are there ambiguities, metaphors, contexts? How clearly can these words be understood?
And the phrase that stuck out to me was parts. Where will you go when banished by the eye of wisdom, and where will you return to harmony again? I think it struck me so much because it was, I had a visceral response. Like the words even like when we first read that, I said, ooh, under my breath. That just came out. And it's because it viscerally like reminded me that delusions go somewhere and come from somewhere. Oh, because boy, do they feel like they're just like always here. And it's something that I have to own, and I need to get rid of. And so just reading that really touched something in me, touched that within me that knows this is true. But it was nice to read that and have that reminder.
Thank you.
I just realized right now that the phrase "from where we will return to harmony," from where we will return is what makes me curious, and harm me again, it's what makes me anxious and gives me this uneasy feeling in my stomach. And the interesting thing is that when I first read this passage, the phrase "vanished by the eye of wisdom" was what called me attention immediately. But when I kept reading it, I realized that if I know where it will come, where it returns from, I can prevent that from harming me. And by knowing and understanding, that's the key to open the eye of wisdom and also to take the fear away. So it seems like knowing that it's very important. And one thing that came to me is that there was a moment that I thought, I don't know very much. I don't even know what delusion is. And when the last sentence of Panawari, the truth, I want to know the truth, then it came to me, I don't know where that is. But when I go back to this phrase that would harm me, maybe there is some connection with my doubt of not knowing and even questioning what truth is.
Thank you, Fatima. So Fatima, do you have a question? And I'm not saying we explore it now, but do you have a question about what delusion means? What it actually is? What the meaning of delusion?
No.
Okay.
No, what happened is that there was a time when I was reading it, I was doubting, like, how much do I know about the Dharma? How much? It seems like I felt like I don't know anything. I'm teaching. I have been teaching for over 7 years. I have been practicing and studying, and then there was this moment that there was this doubt that, oh, I don't know enough. Maybe I don't even know what that is. So that was just the reflection, the questions that were coming to me. And for some reason, there is something related to harm me again. But I'm still in the process of understanding that line of thoughts.
Thank you. When I look at the two phrases, the contrast between in the first paragraph, the banished by the eye of wisdom, and then two lines down, but being weak-minded, the contrast between those two, I notice like this vacillation that I have between those two, and then looking at the contrast of those two as far as the meaning of this reading.
I like the way you phrased the question, Elsie, when you said, what are the meanings we assign to these words? Because that got me thinking kind of along the lines of what Fatima was saying. Is it ever clear what the word wisdom or the word truth really means? Yeah, that's all, I guess.
Thanks, Ruth.
We have someone in the chat that wrote, Gianna, said, this contemplation made me think there is no sticking place for delusions, wants, hopes, fears, desires, etc. Why suffer in them? Why try to hold on to them when they will fade away?
Mm. Thank you, Deanna. Take another moment of silence before we move into the essence, discerning what is true in this text for ourselves and for the whole, universal, timeless, beyond the personal. Sense how the essence of this text comes to life now in you personally and collectively. Speak that essence. Move patiently between the printed words, inner words, and silences.
Would you mind rereading what we should be focusing on this round?
Discern what is true in this text for ourselves and for the whole. Universal, timeless, beyond the personal. And sense how the essence of this text comes to life now in you personally and collectively? Thanks for asking.
I think for me, the truth that stands out is the delusions are not in the objects in the sense powers between them or elsewhere. So a reminder of differentiating mind, clinging mind, in that word. So these, things that are coming up and impacting our experience are not truly there.
I think what is true, true for me, and I get a sense from the interaction we've had this afternoon, is that we all deal with delusions, and we have that in common. And in addition to having delusions and having that in common, that we also have a place, to come together, in the Dharma, in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and a place to continually practice in mindfulness around that. And I appreciate this, one opportunity that we have together to do that.
In some ways, to me, this text is a little like last week's in that it sort of sets up a binary between, last week's was a binary between life support and life. This is the binary between wisdom and delusion, I think. So of course I end up with the same question again: is everything that is not wisdom delusion? And I'm prone to answer that with a yes. And I've been thinking about what wisdom is, and I have some ideas about it, but I think I'd like to save that for another time.
Thanks, Ruth.
For me, when I look at delusion, I think this whole text is very strong and very beautiful, and there is a lot to reflect on. And when I see the question, "Oh, delusion, where will you go? Will go and vanish?" It seems like to me, it's not very important unless if it's related to where we will return from. Unless it's just to help us to understand where it goes, it comes. But when we have a wisdom, it doesn't matter where it goes and where it comes, because the wisdom supersedes and makes us understand the truth. And my relationship with the wisdom, and so I really love the word wisdom, the word in English, the word in different languages, in Portuguese, and I have some connection of wanting to acquire a wisdom in many different ways. And I noticed also that I have this wish of wanting the wisdom to be noticed. There is some kind of a status quo of being wise. And I noticed this inside myself, my relationship with it. I love it. I know what it means. And there is a little hint of how people are going to perceive me if I am wise. And it's like, I like that, but I'm attached to it a little bit. And there is even a little show off sometimes, not all the time. And I think that perception, that understanding, it's helping me to go to my truth.
This is Brian. When I first looked at this, I was kind of confused about if delusion's not in the mind, then where is delusion? Because it says it's not in any of the 5 of the sense objects, and the mind is one of the sense objects. So then I thought about the steps of dependent origination, where you have sense contact, then feelings lead to cravings, craving leads to grasping, and grasping leads to becoming. And for me, then I see the link for delusion is between, maybe later on, before I get too wise, it's between grasping and becoming. But I guess wisdom really shows up between craving and grasping. And so now when I think about where delusion, how it comes back is, it comes back with craving. And the biggest delusion, is for myself, is the delusion of self. And this is where the English language causes me problems, because we talk about my mind return to harm me again. And all this time, of course, that's the biggest delusion I'm trying to deal with. And so the intricacies of language, and this is where you can work up toward wisdom, but you can't logically get to wisdom. Wisdom is something that goes above and beyond logic. And that's what I get from this. One of the things I get from this passage in particular.
Thank you, Brian.
Hi, it's Nancy. I'm so lucky I live with that man. But it's just.
But he doesn't say that about you, Nancy. No, I'm kidding.
Well.
He does.
But when it comes to why bring the suffering of hell and so forth upon myself for no reason, the things that have been shared really do take me to that. If I am suffering, then I either have aversion or clinging or wanting. And I just keep thinking of Deepa saying, have you suffered enough? And just to rest in whatever the truth is. And when I think of wisdom, that's just something I don't know how to define. It kind of is, arises without thinking. It just is almost like it's a gift when there's the clearing of a fog, and it's not something I've created at all. And so it's when it occasionally light bulb goes off, it's just really precious. And I'd like to, I'm so grateful to be here with you all, because I think it's the path that will help me have that more. Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. So I didn't realize this last week, but the amount of time that was allotted to our Dharma Contemplations was till 1:15. So I just wanted to make sure that that's okay with everyone, to get everybody's approval on continuing to have it until 1:15. And understandably, if you need to leave, thank you for participating today. But we still have one more round that I'd like to give us an opportunity for a brief dialogue to end the day, and then a chant to close our Dharma contemplation for today. So instead of taking the time for another brief time for silence, let's just move into dialogue, joining together in the immediate experience of the Dharma, the way things actually are, releasing the text, trust that it will inform the present moment, speak to the present experience, sharing observations, pain, insights, and then listening deeply. I also wanted to let you know that I wish to take these notes from our Dharma contemplation and add them to our group in a text message to you, so you have them available. So hopefully we'll have that available to you by next week. And then if anybody else would like to start with the dialogue to end our session today, please feel free.
Well, since other people have been talking about their ideas of wisdom, I can talk about mine too. I think what I'm coming to is the idea that wisdom is the understanding that we are all already awakened, and to live from that awakened place is what wisdom is. So I'm glad to have this reading and this forum to be able to think and talk about this. So thank you.
Thanks, Ruth.
Thank you, Ruth. What I got from the comments I've heard today is that the wisdom that this speaks to is not what I typically would look in a dictionary and have defined as wisdom. Which gets back to my comment that I can't get there through logic. It's just something that gets realized. And so what this tells us is, if I can get rid of my delusion, wisdom automatically arises. And so my goal for life is to try to stop living a deluded life.
That's great. Yeah. And I guess I should have said too, that even though we're already awakened, we are so papered over with delusion, and cutting through those delusions to get to our awakened beings is what we're after, what we're at.
What comes to me is that when Ruth said that where all of us are awakened, the way I see is that we have the possibility, we have the capability of being awakened. And that's why we continue to practice to become awakened. I don't think that everybody is awakened. I just think that everybody has the Dharma within, and that that we practice to be completely awakened and aware of it. And I think that we need the right understanding, right comprehension from the Eightfold Path, and a right view. And that needs to understand that we need the mind to understand that. So I think we need everything to go into that, to get to the wisdom and to be awakened. And I don't see the mind and the logic as that separate from, to me, it's an instrument that helps us to understand and have a right view and a right understanding.
So it occurs to me like I have really bad glasses on. I mean, to the point of where I can't really see very well. And I need a new lens to be able to have more clarity on what's actually going on in reality, instead of seeing from these cloudy glasses. And given that I'm in space in a particular area with these cloudy glasses, realizing that I'm seeing through something other than reality, assuming that it's real. So delving more deeply into what is the nature of reality. Because when I'm behind those glasses, that's all I can really see. And it's really frustrating sometimes, because it's really blurring, it's very confusing, and there's a certain level of energy that is spent with that as well, instead of just being, clear in the reality of what's going on at the moment. So would anybody like to say something about maybe what's a question or a statement to be made to have us reflect upon for this week?
I like the sentence that you chose, the last one, because they are just like illusion. I should banish fear from my heart and strive to attain wisdom. I think that it would be a good question. In which ways are we banishing fear from our heart and strive to attain wisdom? What do we notice in our relationships, in our daily life, that we are noticing the fear, and what do we do to let it go, to banish it?
Okay. So what do we do reflecting upon fear in our lives? And what do we do to banish the fear? Is that the question, Fatima?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do we notice you know,
What do we notice?
it's like noticing fear and noticing what do we do to banish it or let it go.
Hi, it's Nancy. I love that question. Fear has been such a big gremlin of mine. And I think for me, just going to my breath when I'm in fear and realizing that whether it's a good time or a scary time, the future's uncertain. And just resting in the not knowing helps me to let go of the fear and not catastrophize as was a pattern previously. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's take one more moment of silence to close our session today. May all beings have happiness. May they be free from suffering. May they find a joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from attachment and hatred. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Elsie.
Thank you. Thank you, Elsie, and everybody who
would like to do next
showed
week's
up.
session.
Thanks, dear ones.